2, 1. Good evening for those viewing us on Carroll Media Center and Comcast Channel 23. This is a meeting of the Mayor and Town Council for the Town of Hampstead on Tuesday, April 13th. So, first thing we do is call to order. We'll have the opening prayer, then the roll call, and the Pledge of Allegiance included in there. All please rise. Dear Lord, we submit ourselves to you as your servants and the servants of the people of Hampstead who've placed their trust in us. Please allow every word that is spoken and every action taken to be in the best interest of Hampstead. Oh Lord, bless this meeting in our town. And we've had a couple of people close to us who've lost parents in the last month. Tammi lost her dad, and Diane Barrett, who serves on Planning and Zoning Commission, lost her mother. So they're in our thoughts and prayers as well. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Tammi, you can call the roll.
Mayor Nevin.
Here.
Councilwoman Duff.
Here.
Councilwoman Painter.
Here.
Councilman Renahan.
Here.
And Councilman Thomas.
Here.
And Councilman Unglesbee.
Here.
Am I echoing?
Yes.
A touch. So, so for the record, you see Deb, Dave, and Joe are here in person, and Wayne and Marlene are joining us virtually. Once again, a hybrid meeting, but we're almost winding down for them with shots in most everybody's arms at this point. Take up approval for the minutes from March 9th.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Tammi, when you're ready, we'll do the town manager's report and the Main Street revitalization update.
Our virtual meeting for State Highway was canceled for March, and we're hoping to have one this Thursday on the 15th. I will not be here, but Christy Collins and Kevin Han will be part of the meeting. Crews continue working on a concrete punch list items, and I know I keep saying this, but the work includes repairing and replacing damaged concrete, correcting ADA compliance issues, and cleaning and sealing the joints of the sidewalks. Tuesday, March 16th, town staff attended a work-through inspection of our water valve boxes on Main Street with State Highway and C.J. Miller. All water valve boxes that were damaged during construction were later repaired or adjusted. Public Works conducted a final inspection and have approved the completed work. Once all of our other punch list items are addressed, a final inspection will be conducted by State Highway that will include town staff and our inspector. Crews may remain on Main Street afterwards to address items discussed during this inspection.
Move that.
I know, I was thinking maybe I should.
There you go. That might help.
I did help. Our water main replacement project, which is the replacement of the remainder of 1936 pipe, started several weeks ago with utility locating, saw cutting, and temporary water line installation. Last Friday, a new water main was installed on Shiloh Avenue. Our contractor, Mid-Atlantic, plans to complete the work on the following streets in the order they are listed. So Reineman Avenue, the section of West Street from Reineman Avenue to Tawny Alley, and portions of Upper Beckleyville Road, Hillcrest Street, and Ralph Avenue. And we're continuing with our commercial and real estate projects. They're still moving forward, and we continue to work with new businesses. Discussions are ongoing with Chesapeake Real Estate Group while they are still in their due diligence period for the contract purchase of the North Carroll High School property. In the last month, we have attended several meetings with Chesapeake, which have also included state and county staff. We have all been working together to keep this project moving forward. After months of preparation and with the submission of several test payrolls, we have our first live payroll with ADP on April 5th. Everything processed through properly without any issues or concerns. Cheryl is in the process of validating and finalizing the journal entries for our accounting system. The ADP implementation team will assist us with one more payroll, and then we'll begin processing on our own. And ADP has a support team that will assist us in the future with any questions and concerns. This was a big endeavor for Cheryl, so I appreciate everything she's done. And Christy was also helping to work with ADP. So we're working towards a paperless payroll process where employees will enter their own hours and submit their timesheets electronically. As preparation for the FY '22 budget continues, staff are finishing projects that were approved in the FY '21 budget. One project I'd like to mention is the purchase of new welcome signs for the town. Since one of the signs is in the Main Street revitalization area, we plan to follow the same signage guidelines that are applied to the Main Street businesses. So the new welcome sign, and possibly signs, but definitely the one on Main Street, will be a monument sign with a brick foundation. And so we're gathering estimates and evaluating cost. But I think if we're implementing guidelines to the Main Street businesses, then we should follow the same guidelines with our welcome sign. So it should look very nice. And then, of course, the other welcome sign is north of town on Route 30. And town elections will be held Tuesday, May 11th, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. for 3 members on the town council. All member terms are for 4 years. 4 citizens filed for the town for the 3 town council seats by the deadline of yesterday, Monday, April 12th, 2021 at 4:30. 2 of the candidates are currently serving the town. Councilmember Thomas, who resides on Main Street, is running for re-election, and Diana Barrett, who goes by Diane, she resides on Red Oak Court. She serves on our Planning and Zoning Commission. The other 2 candidates are Zachary Tomlin, who resides on Hillock Lane, and Benjamin Zolman, who resides on Caton Road. The Board of Supervisors of Elections received the packets last night, and they reviewed everyone's information and certified those 4 candidates as our eligible candidates that are running. Thursday, April 29th at 7 p.m., an in-person candidate forum will be held here at Town Hall. It will be live streamed by Carroll Media Center on their Facebook page and Comcast Channel 23. So we're asking if the public would like to submit candidate questions to Town Hall prior to the forum. You can do it via email, hampstead@carr.org. And I've mentioned before, as far as to be a qualified voter, every person who's a citizen of the United States is at least 18 years old, has resided within the corporate limits of the town for 30 days preceding the town election, and is a registered voter, shall be considered a qualified voter of the town. And they also have a right to an absentee ballot in accordance with the procedures as is established by the ordinance of the council. So qualified voters may call or come in person to the town office to request an absentee ballot and envelope. The absentee ballot shall only be counted if it's delivered in person to Town Hall or to the Board of Supervisors of Elections on or before the close of the polls on the date of the election. Or the other option is to mail to the attention of the Board of Supervisors of Elections at Town Hall in significant time to have been received prior to the close of the polls on election day of May 11th. The ballots received past this date, even if it's due to postal service delays, will not be counted. So we would encourage people to, if you can, pick your ballots up in person, and then if you're unable to get to Town Hall between 8:30 and 4:30, you can, as long as it's properly sealed, and you can put it in our drop box. Because I don't know that it would get here in the mail in time. And for any ballots, 1 envelope can only contain 1 absentee ballot. So if there's more than 1, they'll all be deemed invalid. And like I said, the absentee ballots are available in the town office.
They're available tomorrow?
They were actually available today.
Okay.
So, and if someone takes an absentee ballot and they choose to vote in person, they just need to bring their absentee ballot envelope with them to, when they come to vote.
We figure there'd be some interest in absentee ballots given the pandemic and people's comfort with face-to-face, so trying to make it as easy as possible, and we just encourage everybody to participate.
The 3rd meeting of the Hampstead stakeholders was held last week. As of that meeting, 45 vendors have registered to participate. Planning's moving forward with vendor spaces, a kids zone, car show, and the War Memorial Park will be set up with picnic tables so people can enjoy a band while dining. So somebody still needs to pick the band. Governor Hogan lifted the restrictions.
Wonder who that somebody is.
On the size of the outside gathering. So that's good that we should be able to proceed, but other guidelines will probably still be in effect during the event. The Town of Hampstead first for the sustainable community. Town of Hampstead is a sustainable community, and we received that designation in 2016. The application for the Sustainable Communities Renewal was submitted on April 1st to the Maryland Department of Planning, and we're waiting for approval. So special thanks to Jim Work for preparing the application. I'd like to thank Councilwoman Duff and Councilman Thomas for all their help, and the mayor, who was part of the committee. But being a sustainable community requires establishing and achieving goals to be environmentally, economically, and socially responsible during growth and development in our town. So special thanks to Christy Collins for managing the initiatives and projects in our Sustainable Community Action Plan for the past 5 years. And we just want to make everybody available beginning at approximately 9 p.m. on Wednesday, April 21st. The Town of Hampstead's Department of Public Works personnel will systematically flush all fire hydrants. This may cause some variations in water pressure and slight discoloration for area residents in their water for the flushing hours and during the day on Thursday, April 22nd. So residents are advised to run their cold water tap until the water's clear. It also would be advisable to refrain from doing laundry during flushing hours and on Thursday morning. But just be assured, the water received, though possibly discolored, is still fully treated and potable. And I just want to give everybody one last update for the Census 2020. The processing of the 2020 census data is proceeding as expected, and the Census Bureau announced that it will deliver the public law redistricting data to all states by September 30th, 2021, which of course is delayed due to the COVID pandemic and everything that's been happening this year. The restricting data includes counts of population by race, Hispanic origin, voting age, and housing occupancy status at geographic levels as small as neighborhoods. So this data is used for drawing voting districts for Congress and state legislators.
So, a lengthy staff report, a lot going on in town. So, on to oversights, and Marlene, we'll go with you first.
Okay. Just a reminder, the opening day for Hampstead Farmers Market is June the 5th. Hours remain 8:30 a.m. to 12 noon. Keith Johnson reported there are approximately 25 vendors currently signed up to participate this season. Many are returning vendors, and there are several new ones. And he has quite a few new website sponsors, which really helps support the market financially. The market house has been relocated to Panther Drive in preparation for the market's relocation to the former North Carroll High School property. And I just want to say a huge thank you to Keith Johnson, Councilman Thomas, and the market's advisory team for their efforts in preparing for the 2021 market season. Hopefully it won't be as challenging as last year, but you never know. So we just really appreciate their efforts.
Good, thanks. No, I think it'll be more open this year, hopefully. Wayne, you want to go?
Yes, sir. The Hampstead train station is going to try to be open for Hampstead Day. We received quite a lot of train houses, trains, and things over the last year during the pandemic. So that was a good thing for us. The problem is we've got to find a place that we can store it while we're doing work on the back room. So hopefully we'll have it all out of the way in time enough to be open on Hampstead Day. We also decided we're going to do music in park. We're going to make it the second Tuesday of the month, June through September.
You mean second
So more will be
Saturday?
coming
You
out
mean
about
second
that,
Saturday, hopefully not the
start.
second Tuesday, because you won't be at any council meetings.
I apologize. It is the second Saturday,
Okay,
June through September.
thanks.
Thank you for that correction. Tree Commission, we're starting up our meetings again. We're doing some cleanup of the trees that we've previously put in the ground. I think this is the year that the North Carroll Farms tree forest is being finalized, and I'll have more on that later in the year. And then we have a few outstanding issues from last year that we need to finish up. That's all I have.
Thank you. Deb?
Planning and Zoning Commission met on March 24th and approved a sign for the new location of Dreamers Travel at 1222 North Main, and also approved a new sign at the old location, which will be renamed Main at 1206. They approved a grading-only plan for Ridge Engineering expansion at 3987 Hampstead, Mexico Road. This is part of their Phase 1, where they will be moving approximately 30,000 yards of dirt out.
Any time frame for when they start moving dirt?
I don't recall. I think they were waiting to see what the weather was gonna do. That
But
was
this
their-
spring, this year?
Yes, this spring, absolutely. There was some discussion on the adequate facility study for Dollar General at 834 South Main Street, as well as we're waiting on a new drawing for the fence out front. The original drawing they had a split wood rail fence, and the commission had asked to see a rendering with the iron fence, which would go more with the theme. And finally, there was continued discussion on the 2020 Hampstead Community Comprehensive Plan, Chapter 13, which was regarding public participation and how we can improve and get everything out to everybody and get some input back from the community.
Very good.
I just wanted to add that, I don't know if we said this before, Ridge wanted a grading only to get a head start while their site plan for their addition, their new buildings being approved.
60,000 square feet, right? That number sticks in my head.
I thought it was 83, but
Okay.
I could be wrong.
It's a
And
significantly-
Tammi, you're right, I left that out. They were waiting on the stormwater approval from the county for everything else.
It's a significant expansion to a local business, so it's all good
Correct.
news. Dave?
Okay, March 2021, average water usage was 323,000 gallons per day. April 2021, average water usage so far is 320,000 gallons per day. Rainfall total for March 2021 was 2.0, and rainfall total so far for April 2021 is 1.1.
Thank you. Anything on the cemetery you want to?
Yeah, I want to thank the Public Works Department. They came out and dug a hole for us to put a new sign up, which was donated for the cemetery. We also had the leader of the Rose Commission of Maryland planted some old roses from the 1800s. They were plants that they had grafted off of those. And he also installed a little stone bench, which is really nice. And hopefully within the next few weeks, the Carroll County should be coming with the master gardeners to finally fill our beds with flowers. So,
Cool. Good news. Thanks. Joe?
Okay, park updates. Program Open Space, Chief Sites and War Memorial will be beginning, those projects will be beginning July the 1st. And the Community Parks and Playgrounds War Memorial, hoping to hear the status on that to be approved in May, hopefully. The Kimberly Village Playground that was installed by the Kimberly Village Homeowners Association is going to be removed, and the area is going to be considered open space. And the town's going to purchase and install a couple benches for the area.
Good.
That's it.
All right, thanks. Chief Snyder, you're up.
Careful, little sucker.
Believe I'm on.
Tilt it up. Tammi, tilt that.
All right, how's that? All right, good evening, everyone. During the month of March, in the Traffic Safety Department, we investigated 16 traffic accidents. 10 were reportable, 6 were minor property damage only. 4 of the crashes took place at the 42 Circle, and 1 was a DUI case. I'll go off script for a second here. Rebecca, with reference to your accident, at the end of the day, that was simply a gentleman that just wasn't paying attention while he was driving. The young man in the work van, there was no impairment. He wasn't using his cell phone. He simply was daydreaming, for lack of a better term. And so you're aware, there aren't cameras there. What you actually see up there are the switches that cycle the system through, so they don't really capture anything. But if you have any more questions, feel free to ask me afterwards. Our speed sign was placed at 7 locations for a total of 76 days of display. With reference to traffic enforcement, we conducted 98 selective enforcements over 47 hours. Again, the selective enforcements are a result of accidents, crash data, as well as citizen complaints. 33 citations were issued during those activities, 87 warnings as well. Overall, traffic enforcement included 75 citations and 201 warnings. Patrol checks, we conducted 1,047 property checks of businesses and schools. With reference to serious crime, we investigated 3 assaults of the second degree, 2 incidents where the prosecution has been declined by the victim. 1, there was an arrest that took place at the scene. 1 violation of a protective order, 2 burglaries of the 4th degree. 1, the victim refused to cooperate in prosecution. There'll be no charges. And 1 is still under investigation. We investigated 2 CDS possession cases. 1 will result in no charges, and 1 is still under investigation. With reference to arrests, we took into custody 2 adults for traffic violations, 3 adults for DUIs, and 2 warrant services. In the training department, we conducted 101 hours of training. Topics included leading effective traffic enforcement programs, CN1 recertification. I mentioned that last council meeting. It has to do with our access to NCIC, checking the national computer. That's what that refers to. We conducted internal course on blood kit use. Unfortunately, we're seeing more and more of that with reference to DUIs, where there's more drugs involved than there are alcohol. Lieutenant Gagler completed the Leadership Development Institute course in Women's Leadership and Management Skills. We conducted National Traffic and Incident Management Responder Training, as well as training in Case Explorer. Case Explorer has to do with some of our internal investigations where there's potentially a conflict with another agency. It's a nationwide program where we put our information in just to make sure we're not stepping on somebody else's toes, for lack of a better description. We completed what's called a Patrol 1 course. It's basically a refresher for all our patrol officers of basic patrol skills. We completed our Computer Security Basics course this month. Matt Spencer attended a Public Information Officer Awareness course, as well as a Social Media and Emergency Management course. Community events, we attended the Sustainable Community Meeting. We participated in the Carroll County Law Enforcement Blood Drive, and we also attended the HOA meetings for Hampstead Valley as well as Roberts Fields. That's everything.
Questions for Dave? Thanks, appreciate it.
Chief, I forgot to thank you for the sustainable community input.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, my comments. There's a newsletter out. I'll put my finger over my own picture, but there's a newsletter out that came to everybody's mailbox in town. You can also go online and look at it. Town staff does a really good job putting this together. Shout out to Jim Work, who's, I guess, our editor, who puts it all together for us. But typically there's my article, there's Tammy's article, Dave Snyder's article, then the Hampstead Volunteer Fire Company has a very good article about what they're planning to do up at their site and the building of the new station and the timing for all of that. Hampstead Farmers Market has a space in there. We spotlight CarQuest Auto Parts this year as a local business. We give Hampstead Merchants Association a room in it as well to talk about what they're doing. Then we have some catch-alls at the end that describe Hampstead Day, which Tammi mentioned in her comments. But to make sure everybody knows, it's coming back to Main Street. We're actually closing the road for that Saturday, which is Memorial Day weekend, 8 to 4, May 29th. So we look forward to seeing everybody out that day. There's an update on the military banner programs because we'll start flying them again in the month of May through what we call our patriotic season from basically Memorial Day to Labor Day. There's another little blurb on scholarships that are available for graduating seniors who have to be from Hampstead. Obviously, it's Hampstead town money being used for this, so you have to live in town. We're doing 3 $1,000 scholarships, and then the MML Carroll County chapter, you have to live in one of the 8 municipalities, and Dave chairs that committee. They're giving out 3 as well, $1,000 scholarships. The other thing I always tell people this time of year, on your Maryland state taxes, check that you live in Hampstead. That does not result in you paying an extra tax. That just makes sure that whatever you're sending down to the state, we get our fair share of here locally. And that's a big piece of our budget, so it's important that that line gets checked. And then there's a bucket of paint program update as well. So there's lots of information about what's going on in Hampstead in that newsletter. Let's see, what else is going on? The American Rescue Plan has been in the news. Hampstead's getting $5.3 million and change out of that. One can argue about the need and reasonableness of that level, but that's what we're getting. That's what the federal government assigned to us. We're supposed to know within 60 days from the time it was approved, we're supposed to see the state gets half of that money, and then within 30 days, they're supposed to distribute that money to us. We're still waiting on what the rules are as far as how you can distribute it, and then they need to give us guidance on the reporting that relates to it as to how we spent the money at the end of the day. So I'm sure those rules are going to be important. We've got a significant water line replacement project that is currently ongoing. Hopefully that qualifies, but until we get those rules, we don't know that it does. But most of the money will be spent on our water system. There's some allowable uses for it, and basically it says you can respond to or mitigate a COVID-19 health emergency or its negative economic impacts on households, small businesses, nonprofits, and aid for tourism, travel, and hospitality. Again, very general, so let's see what the details are. We can provide essential workers with premium pay. We can cover revenue loss as a result of, incurred as a result of COVID-19 emergency. And then we can make investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. So that's why we think most of the money will go into the water system, which Kevin, Tammi, and I talk regularly. It always needs updates. And if you read, if you read my letter, I guess it's a little bit of a conversation, or it's a little bit of a point about now MDE and EPA are measuring contaminants in parts per trillion. It used to be million, then it went to billion, then it went to trillion. And it's also, you get some attention-grabbing front number on the numerator. Nobody ever looks at the bottom number, the denominator. And if you back it off, so if you see 200 parts per trillion, you just focus on 200 and think, oh my God, which is probably an eyedropper in the Chesapeake Bay. But you know, at the end of the day, if you move that number back to millions, you move it 3 decimal places and 3 decimal places again, and you can see what kind of contamination we're really dealing with. And, you know, that's still parts per million. So, you know, it's interesting. So there'll be some, I'm sure when this money comes, that's where we'll spend the bulk of it. And then one thing they say that it can't be used on, because I'm sure everybody thought about it, was they may not be used to support any pension fund or to offset a tax cut. So if we were to cut taxes, they wouldn't just, the money would disappear. So, you know, it's interesting times in government, and so we'll get more hopefully by the beginning of May, and we'll have better feedback this time next month. The Maryland General Assembly just adjourned last night. There's a lot to unpack there, including police reform. Dave Snyder sent me a summary from the Maryland police chiefs, which I haven't even gotten a chance to get through yet. But obviously there was a lot of police reform passed. We're waiting to see what that impact is. You know, our guys are doing frontline training, top of the line training, and the only question is I think the General Assembly increased some liability caps on municipalities or people who run the police departments. So what's that going to mean for our insurance rates? All to be determined. And there were other things, you know, climate initiatives, tax policies, all passed at the last minute. So we'll be getting through that. I have a MML legislative meeting next Wednesday, which will go through that in summary. An MML board meeting next Saturday, which I'm sure they'll summarize it again. But you know, this time of year, we'll figure out what happened over the last 90 days, or particularly the last 3 days of any General Assembly session. So on the good news front and for fun, it was nice. We had a Ronald McDonald House walk this past weekend around town, and Jim Rourke is very involved in that, and it was typically done with a whole bunch of people down in the city. Well, now of course it's virtually, so he has a pretty significant team of people who take part in that. So he said, come on up to Hampstead, and lo and behold, a lot of them did. So with the police department's help, we did a 3-mile walk, 5K around Hampstead on Saturday, and then went to Outlaw Barbecue for lunch afterward. And it was just, you know, a great event, and a lot of people helping out a very, very nice cause. So it was good to be part of something fun and get out and doing stuff. So that's my update. Unfinished business, I don't think we have anything. On the new business side, we have an award of a contract for patching various roads. Council has in front of them the 3 bids, and as you can see, C.J. Miller came in as the low bid, and we had 3 quality contractors bid who typically do bid for all our contract work. And, you know, we know the quality of work CJ's done given the last 5 years that we've dealt with them, and that bid is $151,245.
Move to accept the bid from C.J. Miller.
Second by Dave. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Anyone opposed? All right. Now, we have an introduction and discussion of NPDES MS4 permit MOA. So that's a lot of initials. That's the National Pollution Discharge System, which deals with stormwater. the requirements for the county and the town to meet those requirements and to meet those regulations that are continuing to change as we go through. So Tammy's going to take her best shot at giving you guys an update.
Thanks. The towns in Carroll County, we signed an MOU 6 years ago. I believe Carroll County has achieved the most in this endeavor. Haven't we in
We
the
have.
state of Maryland?
We're the only one.
We're the only jurisdiction to meet their milestone.
Wow. But the purpose of the MOU is for stormwater regulations. They were requiring the towns to increase what they do to treat 20% of impervious surfaces over the course of 5 years. And again, Carroll County with creating the WRCC, having all the municipalities represented along with the county has been an incredible partnership. And
WRCC.
the Water Resource Community Council. Keep forgetting the first C. Community Council. So we are able to rely on the expertise of the county, and we've received many beneficial renovations of our stormwater facilities. So it's, like I said, it's been an incredible partnership. They wanted to bring to the councils, to the municipalities, a couple amendments they would like to do for our MOU. The two basic changes they'd like to make is the MOU renewal was based on the MPDES permit renewal. Well, right now that renewal is, or it was supposed to be renewed in 2019. It's still a year out, so it's a couple years behind, which caused a delay in the renewal of the MOA. So what they would like to do is not tie the MOA to the MDE permit. So they would like to take all the language out, so it's not contingent on the renewal of the permit. The other thing they would like to do is to simplify the MOA, again, between the county and the municipalities, is if you see the chart of payments, each municipality pays per their population. They pay 20% of the cost, and the county pays 80% of the cost, but also of all the different stormwater projects throughout the county. But the county also has personnel, expertise to apply for grants, so that way they apply for grants as a whole. It works very well. It's been very beneficial to Hampstead. And they would like to remove the chart, so if any amendments need to be made to the chart, they don't have to amend the MOA and then reapprove it, because it has to be signed by all the mayors and county commissioners. However, they'd just like to change it to where if there's a change to the chart, the representative from the town that attends the WRCC meetings would then come back and get approval from their council, mayor and council, and then they would have a vote at the WRCC meeting to make any amendments to the chart. So there would still be an approval, it just wouldn't require approval of the entire MOA. And it would make it a more
Workable.
lasting document, instead of having to do it every 5 years or postpone it, because the permit hasn't been generated by MDE. And if you also know from the charts, we're gonna start paying less of our share. Our share will be less. Everybody, for the municipalities, will be paying less because they've changed it. Instead of 20%, treating 20% of impervious surfaces, it's now MD's requiring 2% per year. Since they lowered the requirements of what needs to be done, the county's lowering the payments that we would pay over the years. So the last 2 years, we, as the town of Hampstead, paid $72,340. Starting in our budget of FY '22, our payment will be $41,660,000, and then it would increase 5% each year. So the whole concept has worked very well for Carroll County, for the municipalities, for the town of Hampstead. I think what they just really wanted to bring to the council's attention is changing the format of our agreement. And if the council didn't have any issues or concerns, then they're gonna move forward with putting together the actual MOA to be voted on at a later date. Did you have anything to add, Kevin?
The only thing that I could add to that is the benefits that Hampstead has seen from this agreement. If these burdens of the 20% would have been laid on our citizens' feet, it would have been solely our responsibility. It could have been quite a disaster. They have the technical level to administer this. They have done an excellent job of keeping the price per impervious acre at exactly what they said it was going to be when you signed it 5 years ago. They've done a fantastic job with the folks over at county. We've had in our town the small crossings and Savannah State stormwater facilities were upgraded to meet the new specifications, as well as the new facility at Shallow Middle School. If the facility at Shallow Middle School is ever overrunning, we've got serious problems. It is a massive facility, and we have benefited greatly from this agreement.
We have. It's been a great partnership. And as Kevin said, the county brings the expertise to it. And also, as he said, we're the only county in the state that has met the first hurdle of 20% coverage. Council will always get to look at the number that the county's requesting because it'll be in our budget. So, technically you will be approving that number. So I don't think there is any other business. And before I open it to public comments, just under coming attractions, next month's meeting of the town council, instead of on Tuesday the 11th, will be on Wednesday the 12th because of the election. So we give 1 day for everybody, the newly elected, if they are, to get themselves ready. So you'll drink from a fire hose. Because one of the first things we'll be tackling is the introduction of the budget. Then we'll schedule a workshop, and then in June, we'll have a public hearing and approve the budget. So it's a condensed process, but it's always worked for us very well in the past. And then in the May meeting, we'll be saying goodbye to Marlene and Joe, and then swearing in, at least 2 new folks, maybe 3 for the council, but at least, between Wayne and Diane and Zach and Ben. So we wish them well. It's a sprint in municipal elections, which is probably a good thing. Having 2 years of presidential elections gets off-putting at some point, and everybody's just been through it. But everyone's participation in local elections, it really does make a difference here locally as far as how your roads look, how your trash gets picked up, what you get charged for water. So, as you can tell from this council meeting, there is a lot going on. All right, public comments.
I just wanted to say one thing. I'm sure Benjamin and Zachary noticed that I gave a date of a public forum for the candidates running for council. We just determined that yesterday, so we haven't had a chance to notify everybody, but keep that date in mind, and we'll be in touch.
All right, public comments. Once, twice, 3 times? Yes, sir.
Frank Capel. I see that we've gotten some funds for the water, the 5.3.
We haven't gotten,
Not yet, I do understand that.
and we want to see what the rules are when we get them.
I do understand that.
And I remember you came before, right?
Yeah, I pay too much money for water, and my pressure's bad.
Yours is in a not a typical situation. It's because of a decision that was made by, a prior, even though I've been here a long time, it was a prior administration with a prior town manager. And I would say we're, with the budget process that's ongoing, we're amenable to looking at what that arrangement was and changing it.
Okay, and the big deal here is that you're already coming up Hillcrest. Are you stopping where the town line is at the present because the water line replacement that you're doing on that?
We're replacing the 1936 lines, so we're going to be coming up Hillcrest to almost the exact spot where the water tower used to stand, and be tying into the lines that were put in when we did in front of your house. So at Upper Beckleysville Road from Main Street, and then just a small little portion up Hillcrest, and then all the 1936 pipe will be gone in that area of town.
Hopefully with the new pipe, replacing the pipe that's now almost 80 years old, we'll see some improvement in the water pressure up, because it'll be freer flowing, less leakage.
No,
No?
it won't affect the pressure.
All right.
Once you promise him that.
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry, heard.
What it will do, it improves water quality. So, although our 1936 cast pipe that we've taken out of the ground on Shiloh was sturdy, but it was not closed up. A lot of towns, when they pull the pipe out of the ground, you can, barely stick your finger in the hole anymore. Ours is wide open, but that cast pipe rust from the inside, from the chlorine, and the new pipe will be cement lined, and won't have those dirty issues.
The big deal I have is that, we never like to say free money because somebody had to pay for it. But,
Just depends what pocket they're taking it out of,
exactly,
yeah.
everybody here, but our
No,
percentage
at this point, it's your grandchildren's
Yeah,
money.
well, it's probably farther than that, but just the fact that, if we can have an opportunity to maybe think about doing something, or the conversation that we had before, which we didn't have because I wasn't actually feeling very well with the mask and all that kind of stuff. So anytime you wanna have a talk, I'm willing to come in, sit down and discuss my dilemma with the amount that I pay for water. And
Okay.
anything I can do to help push this along would be wonderful, especially with the COVID and all that, and, thank God I didn't lose my job, but I didn't make as much money as I used to. So, whatever can be done would be greatly appreciated.
Thank you, noted. All right. Any other comments? Our Boy Scout, now you're on the spot. You gotta earn the merit badge. You gotta stand up. I don't, gotta put you on the spot a little bit. You can stand there, that's fine. What's your name? And it was Troop 386, right down in Wesley. So what did you learn out of this meeting? Give me one highlight. Replace the water pipes, okay. For those keeping score at home because you couldn't hear them, the fact that we're replacing the water pipes. All right, well, thank you very much. We'll make sure that you get your check mark for the community participation. All right. No further comments. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Thank you for weighing in virtually. Good to see you guys virtually. Hopefully next month in person, because maybe one I have to swear in and the other one we got to say goodbye to. So, but thank you all for participating. Again, our thanks to Comcast and the Carroll Media Center for the work they've done with getting us broadcast here. And I think it's been a great improvement as far as public input, because I've heard from a lot of different people that I didn't think would be watching us at various different times, that they actually tune in and catch it for 15, 20 minutes. Usually it's interesting because it's maybe late at night, maybe it's a way to put them to sleep, I don't know. So, but once again, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.